Welcome to Chapter 1, Section 10, the Python 3 Nmap module. The Python 3 Nmap module is a Python 3 wrapper around Nmap that makes it easier to run scans, parse results, and integrate network scanning into scripts. It's especially useful for automating reconnaissance, security dashboards, and audits. Installing Python 3 Nmap module is straightforward using pip. Simply run pip install python 3-nmap to get started. The creators of Nmap provide scanme.nmap.org as a safe and authorized host to test scanning. It's a great way to practice without violating any rules, but scans should be limited to avoid overwhelming the server. Let's jump to scanme.nmap.org and take a look at it. I'm going to jump into my Kali Linux host, and we'll go ahead and just go to scanme.nmap.org. This will give you a little disclaimer, and it also says, but don't scan 100 times a day or use this site to test your SSH brute force password cracking tool. Those are some things you shouldn't do. Just read this little disclaimer, make sure you're following the simple rules so that this resource will be continue to be available for all of us to continue testing our Nmap Python scripts. Here's a basic example of performing a SYN scan against scanme.nmap.org using Python 3 Nmap module. This creates a scanner object on the second line here. So we import nmap 3, then we create an nmap object by calling nmap3.nmap_scan_techniques, which gives us access to various scanning techniques. And then we can call the nmap syn scan, passing in scanme.nmap.org to that function and print the results. Let's just talk about the components. nmap3.nmap_scan_techniques, that function call creates a scanner object, and then we can call the function nmap_syn_scan to run a syn scan. The results show open closed ports, services, and host details. This supports arguments via the args parameter, and we can do something like limit to port 80. Let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at some code and learn by example. Now I'm logged into my Kali Linux host, and I have Python 3-nmap on PyPy, the documentation open so that we can refer to it. Now the first thing we're going to want to do is import nmap3. So let's jump in and change our code here to import nmap3. So I'll import nmap3, which will allow us to create an nmap scanning object. We'll jump back to the documentation, and I want to run a syn scan. So I'm going to Control F and look for syn scan, and this is how we can run a syn scan. Now you can see there's a bunch of different scanning techniques. Anything that you can do with nmap, you can do with the nmap3 wrapper. So we're going to do a syn scan here. I just need these two lines, and I'll jump back into my code here. And now that we check for a valid IP address, once it matches, if it does, we're going to start the scanning. So we'll paste these two lines in, and I'm going to change the code here. I want to do results plural, because if you scan multiple IPs, you'll have multiple results. I'm also going to change this hard-coded IP address to the IP we input. Now, remember, we're not able to scan domains yet. That's something that you may want to add as functionality. So we're going to get the IP address for the scan module, or for scanme.nmap.org. To do that, I can just ping -c1 scanme.nmap.org. So the -c1 is the number of pings I want to do. I just need to resolve the IP address. This is a simple way to do it. You can see the IP address for scanme.nmap.org is 45.33.32.156. And I'm going to copy that so that I can use that in the script. So We've saved this script. The next thing we need to do is just print the results to make sure that we have results. All right, I'll jump back into my terminal here and we'll run Savage Scan. Now we need to run this as root because we're running a SYN scan across many ports and we need to be able to manipulate packets. So we're going to go ahead and use sudo to run this. And you can see where we're getting prompts for the IP address, which I'm going to paste in 45.33.32.156, which should be a valid IP, and we should be able to scan. And you see we're scanning, and this is going to take a little bit of time to scan. And you can see we did get results back, and we get this structured data. Now this comes back as a dictionary, and we'll talk about dictionaries in later lectures. So we'll get to the point where we can parse this data out and make sense of it all. All right, so the challenge for you is to enhance Savage Scan. We already saw how we can just do a simple SYN scan, but maybe you could add some functionality to prompt the user for ports, pass the ports as scan arguments, and then display the structured results. In the next lecture, we'll cover the solution for the coding challenge, and then we'll jump into the hashlib module and learn about cryptography.